Hi and welcome to another edition of the Droopy Dog Gamer. I'm Leighton. If you like our content, please remember to hit like and subscribe. It really helps our little channel to grow. Today we're looking at Assetto Corsa Competizione. Is it worth buying for the consoles in 2021? Let's find out. Roll the credits. So today we're taking a look at Assetto Corsa Competizione. Is it worth your hard-earned cash on the PlayStation, especially when Gran Turismo already exists on the console? Let's load the game up and find out. So this is the screen that you'll be greeted with when you first load up Assetto Corsa Competizione. You've got a championship mode that you can do one single season. You've got a career mode that you can build up and start right from scratch as a youth and then build up into a real veteran racer. You've got special events. You've also got obviously single player where you can do hot laps and do practices and sort of set up individual races to your own specific specifications, like you can set the time and how many AI opponents you want, and really sort of detailed sort of single player races, weather and all that kind of thing. In the options, you've got all your menus to make fine adjustments to your wheel if you've got one, and this game works fantastically well with all wheels that are obviously work with a PlayStation, so you can sort of alter your force feedback and all that kind of thing. This is the official game of the Blancpain GT races, which is, funny enough, Blancpain converted into English means white bread, which doesn't quite have the same ring to it, does it, when you know that? So it has all the official tracks and cars of the GT3 and 4 series. Let's take a look at some of those now. So you've got the Zolder circuit in Belgium. You've also got Monza in Italy, great track. We've got Brands Hatch, which of course is in Great Britain. You've got Silverstone, home of the Formula One Grand Prix. The Paul Ricard circuit in France. You've got Misano in Italy. You've also got Spa in Belgium, one of my favourite tracks. You've got Hungary, I think, which is in the Formula One track. You've got the Nürburgring GT circuit in Germany. You've got Catalunya in Spain. Zandvoort in the Netherlands. You've got the Enzo Ferrari track again in Italy. You've got Mount Panorama in Australia. You've got Laguna Seca, which is in the USA, and the famous Suzuka circuit in Japan, and the Kyalami Grand Prix circuit in South Africa. So let's take a look at some of the cars now that you get in the game. You've got the Aston Martin, you've got the Audi R8, you've got the Bentley Continental GT. It's like a tank, that car. You've got the BMW M6. These are obviously all the official GT3 cars, all the teams, the drivers. You've got the 2019 Honda NSX. You've also got the, let's take a look, the McLaren 720S with Enzo Bonito, the racing driver there. If we take a look now, you've got the Porsche 991 Mark II GT3R. Those cars all come standard with the game, but there is extra download content. You can get the 2020 season. So you've got the Aston Martin V8 2019. You've got the 2019 R8 Audi as well. You've got, let's take a look at the Bentley again, the 2018 Bentley. Same one there. But these are sort of some of the newer series of cars from the newer season. You've got the newer McLaren and the 2020 Mercedes AMG. That's the brand new model there. Also, one of the GT DLC packs is the GT4 pack. So you get all the GT4 cars which have just been added recently. So you've got the Alpine A110, which is the GT4 car. I quite like some of the GT4 cars on here. You've got the BMW M4, the Aston Martin GT4, which is the smaller brother of the V12. You've got the Audi R8, which is a great car, GT4. And you've also got, let's just take a look. You've got the Chevrolet Camaro, which is a pretty mean looking car. One of my favourites, the Ginetta G55, which is a real nimble little thing. You've also got the KTM Crossbow, which is a fantastic car, a car that I've seen on a real track day. You've got the Maserati Gran Turismo and the McLaren 570S. There's some really good cars in the GT4 series. So that's the older McLaren. You've got the AMG GT4 from Mercedes and the Porsche 718 Cayman, which again, all with the official drivers, all with the official teams. So if we jump to the track now, you've got several different views, but unlike the PC version where you can fine adjust your views, you can't do that on the console. They seem to be pretty fixed. So you've got the standard cockpit view where you can see the steering wheel moving, and there's another view where you can sort of zoom in again and kind of have it without the steering wheel and just see the dashboard. There's the helmet cam where you've got extra shakes, and you can see sort of it's for effect really. I can't really realistically see anyone driving in the helmet cam because it's pretty full on, where it shakes about and rattles and you get all those sort of effects. And I've missed my corner there. And you've got a chase view, which is pretty awful, to be honest with you, and it's pretty basic, so I wouldn't recommend using that one either. Well, you've got my personal favourite, the bonnet cam, which is really good for setting hot laps, and it gives you a pretty good overall view of the track. So I've quickly set up a race now with an AI opponent, so we can just have a quick look at what the game looks like with some other cars on the track. I'm in my favourite bonnet view. I don't like being able to see the steering wheel when I'm using my wheel. It kind of is weird having two wheels, and I think this gives a pretty good overall view of the other cars as well. You've got the triangle on the right hand side that you can see, which is indicating that there's a car there that's out of my field of view, which is really useful. You can turn all these features on or off, and I mean you can even have features to sort of switch your engine on and engine off and manually, and wipers on off manually, lights on and off manually. And here's where the game kind of really differs to Gran Turismo. You've got full sort of change in weather that can change during the race. Obviously you've got day and night racing, which is phenomenal. I'll show you some of those effects a little bit later on. It's just a full-on really good game. The other thing that you'll notice as well on this is that the sound is incredible. We'll turn the sound up in a little bit so you can hear the full sound. You get all the rattles, and it's some of the best sounding sound effects that I've seen in any racing game, for sure, definitely. You'll see that you've got my tyre indicator there. You've got pretty good controls over the HUD. That you can have sort of full details, or you can switch them off and sort of have nothing at all, which makes it a lot more difficult when you're in a long race. The other thing sort of worth noting about this is obviously this is running on the PlayStation 5, and on the PlayStation 5 it's been enhanced, so it's running at a really smooth 60 frames per second, although on my capture card it's running at 30 frames per second. But on my monitor that I'm looking at now, it's running at a really smooth 60 frames per second, and it looks really good. The graphics are not as pretty as Gran Turismo, but I'd give sort of graphics 7 out of 10. They're functional, they do the job, and the frame rate is really rock solid and smooth at 60. Oh, I took that too wide. Yeah, the graphics are really smooth, nice sort of solid 60 frames per second. But on the PlayStation 4 it'll run at 30 frames per second. Now, one thing that I want to sort of note between now and when the game was first released was the frame rate was really rubbish, which is why when the game was first released, this game really received mixed reviews on console. It was brilliant on PC, but on console when it was first released, to me it was almost unusable. It looked like a slow moving slideshow at times when you turn sort of really slow corners, but I'm pleased to say that that's all been fixed by Kunos, the developers, and it's running really nicely now on console. Another advantage that this game has over Gran Turismo Sport is the AI. The AI are really smart, and they will avoid you if you sort of if you're on the racing line and you're a hazard. They will avoid you. They won't just sort of queue up and bump into you. I'm kind of driving right on the limit there, and yeah, they won't bunch up like they do in some racing games. There's certainly no elastic banding. It takes itself as a real sort of serious sim racer, and I think the times of the AI reflects that, the racing times and the lap times. Another thing I like about this game is that you always feel like you're right on the limit, and you know, I'm in 6th place now, and it's a real fight to sort of just overtake one car. And even though sort of you're not sort of racing for 3rd or 2nd, you just feel it's constant action, even fighting for 5th or 6th place. And obviously you've got the advantage on single player that you've not got the sort of idiots in the daily races like you get on Gran Turismo that can spoil your fun. So if you've had a long day, you want to come home, just have a couple of races against, you know, without getting smashed off the track by idiots, you can just pop the single player on and have a great game, which for me, that is one of the major things lacking in Gran Turismo, is that it really is online only, because the AI is so simplistic in that it's just like a procession, and they're not particularly difficult to beat, and you know, they're not particularly aggressive. You can set the aggression level on the AI on Assetto Corsa, so they really will battle and fight you for the position, and they'll sort of dangerously take over. And I've took that corner way too quickly, so I'm not exactly showing my driving skills off well at all here. But yes, the AI is definitely one of the strong points of this game. Let's skip this now and take a look at some nighttime racing and see what that's all about. Yeah, it's pretty a terrifying experience, which I would imagine it would be in real life. I've never been on a racetrack at night. I've been on a few track days. I go on as many as I possibly can, but I've never done any nighttime driving on a track, and it's pretty amazing. This is, and it really adds to the excitement. So obviously in real life you'd have nighttime racing on the GT races, and that is excellently portrayed in the game. As well as the nighttime racing, you've also got dynamic weather. So let's have a look at some wet weather racing now. And we're back in the daylight, but it's looking a lot wetter. So yeah, there we go. Wet weather rain. I'm on bonnet cam, so the rain doesn't look quite so intensive. It doesn't and as you can see, as you move around the track, parts of the track it probably won't be raining, but then the other far end of the track you'll come back into the rain if you're under the rain clouds. Like, we're just entering it now. The realism is fantastic, and the rain will stop and start as well during in the race. Now I've got no help at all here. I've got traction control, I think. I've got realistic track control. I've got all my realism settings set to as real as possible. So I've got you can have sort of lines to help you on the track, guidelines. So it's a good game if you just want to sort of try getting into sim racing, but it is definitely one of the most hardcore sim racers out there. Now the braking points, you'll notice if you come from Gran Turismo to Assetto Corsa, the breakpoints definitely are more realistic, and the brakes on GT Sport, on Gran Turismo Sport, are definitely a lot better. I think the rate, you have to brake sooner, as I'm doing here, and I'm still right on the edge. I'm going too fast, and yeah, like I say, the breakpoints are definitely more realistic on Assetto Corsa. It all adds to the fun, it adds to the challenge, and as you can see now, the track is back in. There's a little voice from my race control. Overall, this is just a brilliant experience, and it's something that you will have to spend time with. It's definitely not as accessible as GT Sport, where you can probably just pick up and play, but it's something that you can spend time mastering. And I feel this game, when you play this game and then if you go back to GT Sport, you just realise how easy it is compared to Assetto Corsa. This game, I feel, makes you a better racer, definitely. So overall, would I recommend this game? Absolutely, definitely. If you're looking for an arcade racer like Need for Speed or something like that, this is definitely not the game that you're looking for. If you're looking for something to really sink your teeth into, that is a great alternative to GT Sport, and I can't really say that one is better than the other over GT Sport or Assetto Corsa Competizione. They're different games, although they are the same genre. I think Assetto Corsa wins when it comes to physics and AI and single player, and it's certainly got the realism factor to it. I think GT Sport is prettier. I think it's more instantly where you can pick up and play. This is definitely more difficult and challenging, but I love it for that. You know, I love a challenge, which is why I always play with no added assists at all. I just like the challenge, you know. I'm not the best racer by far. I've been on real racetracks, I've been in real race cars. Am I a good sim racer? Not really. I've done a couple of events, and I did well at a car show once, but I wasn't against other professional sim racers. That's probably why I did well. I was against real race drivers, and they didn't spend that long on simulators, I don't think. But I did all right that day. But overall, no, I'm not brilliant at all. But I just play for fun and I like it. But overall, I would definitely recommend this game. It's brilliant. It's a good introduction to sim racing. It's one of the cheapest ways you can do it is on console. You definitely really need a wheel. This game's not really made for controller. You could get a good second-hand Thrustmaster wheel now on eBay relatively cheaply, and if you've got a wheel and Assetto Corsa Competizione, you will have hours of fun. It's a really, really good game. If you're as big a petrol head as myself, please remember to click like and subscribe to keep up to date with all the latest pixelated, turbocharged action on the consoles. We'll see you next time on the Droopy Dog Gamer.